All right, today we are going to be listing the top builders here in the triangle and also some of the worst ones that you should probably avoid. So we're going to be ranking these on a tier system all the way from S tier, meaning these are the absolute best builders that we have to offer, all the way down to F tier, meaning you should probably run the other direction. If you are even thinking about building a new construction home in and around Raleigh, North Carolina, then this is the video that you need to watch before you ever sign a contract. And my guess is some of these are definitely going to surprise you. So let's go ahead and get started with an A tier builder. If you're an A tier, then you're likely a semi-custom to fully custom builder. You have great customer service and you have a lot of experience in the building industry. And so of course we are going to start off with the Toll Brothers. This is a national luxury brand. So no matter what market you're looking at moving from, you've probably come across Toll Brothers at least once in your life. Here in the Triangle, they are most notably building in some of our more luxury markets like Chapel Hill or Apex, and their typical build might run you anywhere from $900,000 to well over $1 million, but you're definitely getting what you pay for when it comes to Toll Brothers. They're known for being pretty highly custom and having some really top-notch finishes, and every year they're always coming out with new finishes, new features that we haven't seen before. And if you've watched last week's video where we went and toured the parade of homes, some of the hottest luxury custom homes here in the Triangle, they definitely were on that list, and they are every single year. And I mean, they've got the track record. They've been in business for over 50 plus years. And in 2025, they were ranked the #3 most trusted builder in America, which I think is very impressive and speaks for itself. Another A tier builder that I really love here in the Triangle is Homes by Dickerson. This is a regional builder that is home to North and South Carolina, so you may not have heard of this builder if you're looking from out of state. But if you live here, you're going to see their homes everywhere. They are also a semi-custom luxury builder and just a little bit more affordably priced than Toll Brothers, where their average home might start at around $700,000, and they still can get well above $1 million. Now, they've been in business for about 20 years, and they are most notably known for their customer service. They're just really, honestly great people to work with, and every time I have a contract with them, it always goes very, very smoothly. If there's any hiccups, they're gonna handle that very professionally. Now, most notably, they're building in Wendell Falls, which is a just amazing master plan development on the east side of Raleigh that's really blowing up right now, has a lot of luxury high-end builds going in the area, and they are leading the path on that. You too can expect that a lot of their homes are going to be in the Parade of Homes, showcased for being top-notch in their field, and it's no wonder why so many people choose Homes by Dickerson to build their dream home. Just like Toll Brothers, Homes by Dickerson is definitely in the Parade of Homes every year, showcasing the best that they have to offer. They are an award-winning builder, and there's a reason that people trust them, and I can confidently say that they're one of the most trustworthy builders here in the Triangle if you are in that higher price point budget. Now, we'll be back at A tier, but let's move down to B tier next and check out Pulte Homes. And this is a builder that I am very familiar with. They are very active throughout Raleigh, North Carolina and its surrounding suburbs, and they're building some really nice homes. And the best part is they're a pretty affordable builder. Now, there's some super affordable builders that are gonna be lower on our tier list that we're gonna get to in a little bit. But if you want the best value, the best bang for your buck, and still have a builder that you can trust, then you're going to want to work with Pulte. Now, Pulte is a national builder, so chances are you have heard of them at least in passing, and they've been in business for over 70 years, which I think is incredibly impressive. And they've got their designs, they've got their systems and their processes down to an exact science. And yet, they're not going to be completely spec. Spec meaning that they just create the home and say, do you want it? Yes or no. They still allow you to make design choices and kind of make the home your own, which is one reason why they are ranked higher on my list than some of the other national builders we're about to be talking about later. And Polte is big enough that they have different divisions. So for example, they have a luxury division, not so active in our area. They're testing it in other markets where they build premium priced homes. And if they were more active here, that would have made it onto my list. They also are the proud owners of Del Webb, and you've probably heard of Del Webb. They are one of the top 55 and up community builders throughout the country. And yes, they do have some of those communities here in the Triangle as well. If you're curious about their prices, you can find their homes typically in the 500 to 700,000 range. So again, a lot more affordable here and more in line with what would be kind of the average for our market in terms of house prices, especially since they're still building over in Apex and Cary, for example, and some really hot upcoming developments on that west side of the Triangle. The only reason they're not higher than B on my list is because they're not designed to be a luxury builder. They're not priced to be a luxury builder. But in terms of just being the value builder, they are absolutely the best at what they do. And every time I work with them, I know it's gonna be a smooth transaction. And friendly reminder, if you want help navigating all the many builders throughout the Triangle, finding the right lot, finding the right home, the right floor plan, negotiating with the builder, you want to get started on that this year or next, then make sure you call the number at the bottom of the screen or just click the link in the description and set up a time to chat with me and my team. Now, while we're here on the B tier, another builder I have to mention, nationally owned, is going to be Meritage Homes. So they're all over the country and they've been in business for well over 35 years. They're just a very consistent builder. Again, they've got their systems and their processes down to a science. They're known for home energy efficiency, and their customer service in general is pretty well regarded for being above kind of the average benchmark. So it's usually pretty good when working with Meritage Homes. Now, their average price points are anywhere from 400,000 up to 600,000. Right now, you can find them building out in Fuquay Varina, for example, where prices are in the 500,000s, and you're still getting a lot of house for that money. Now we're going to jump all the way down from B tier down to D tier. And this is the second to lowest tier that we're gonna have. We are going to have an F tier reserved for the absolute worst builder on my list today. And we're gonna be saving that towards the end of the video, so stick around for that. But this D tier is going to be your run-of-the-mill builders. They're gonna have probably the best prices, but it is gonna come at a cost. So we're gonna be starting off with Lennar. And Lennar is one of the top builders in the United States, and they didn't get there by being an absolute horrible builder. So I'm not out here to say Lennar is trash and you should never buy from them. A lot of my clients do. However, what I will say is Lennar is very budget, and ever since COVID, they went completely spec, which again means that they're basically choosing the home, they're choosing the finishes, the colors, everything. They're building it up from the ground, and only then can you come in and buy it and make no changes. And so for people who absolutely just need the lowest purchase price, right, then Lennar is going to be perfect for you. But there's no custom whatsoever. And so common complaints that we get on the design side is, this isn't really my dream home. This is kind of just a home that they chose for me. There's not a lot of options. They only have 3 or 4 packages for any community. So really you look exactly like your neighbor. Everything's very cookie cutter. And I do get that complaint a lot from my clients that are kind of home shopping new construction. There is also something to be said about the appreciation value of Lennar homes. I think they do pretty good at pricing, and they build enough homes that oftentimes we do see values increase as they go throughout their phases. But I'll tell you, if you buy on the tail end of a new construction community, especially with Lennar, they've increased those prices so much that oftentimes within the next few years, we'll actually see values go down a little bit, making it really hard to recoup that value if you have to sell a few years into owning. Other complaints people have about Lennar, other than being very basic, is that the customer service is very middle of the road, right? Sometimes you have a great person on the other end, and then sometimes not so much, and there's not much you can do about it. And of course, with them being a national builder, very, very large, there's going to be a lot of slow responses when it comes to the warranties. Also, in general, they're going to be mass producing these homes, so they're going to miss items. So what I always say is if you're dealing with a D tier builder especially, then we need to come in and we need to do a private third-party inspection and figure out exactly what they missed, because I promise you there will be items on that list, and then we have to work really hard to get them to acknowledge and to fix those items before closing. Again, I'm not hating on Lennar, and pretty much everyone in this D tier is going to be builders that a lot of my investors work with and my first-time home buyers. And I think it's perfectly okay to start out with these basic run-of-the-mill builders if you're in one of those two groups or you're just very budget friendly. So not hating on them at all. Two other builders that I would kind of group together in D tier would be D.R. Horton, and it would also be KB Homes. Again, these are both national builders. They're both focused on value, so they're completely spec'd out. They're not offering any, design options, no customability at all, and it's very limited in what you have to choose from. D.R. Horton specifically is the largest builder in the United States, and they will be sure to tell you that. And so they've got a lot of power in terms of the incentives that they can give out. And that is one benefit of this D tier list that we definitely have to touch on. And it's that they tend to have the most amount of money, in reserves that are for buying down interest rates, giving out closing costs, and, blinds, move-in package with your stove and your fridge, washer, dryer, all that kind of stuff is very easy to get from these big builders. They also can react the most quickly when market shifts happen, so that if they need to lower their prices, they can, even if by a big chunk. Typical prices that you might see from D.R. Horton, Lennar, and KB Homes is going to be somewhere in the 300s to 500 range, with a lot of their products sitting more in that $400,000 range. And most of their communities at this point are going to be found on the outskirts of the triangle. So you'll see them in Wake Forest, you'll see them in Fuquay Arena, a little bit of Apex, you'll see them over in Durham, and on the east side of the triangle in places like Clayton or Zebulon/Wendell. Now, before we finish off the D tier list, we're gonna go up into C tier and see what's going on with these builders, because this is the absolute middle, right? These are the median when it comes to the builders here in the triangle, and we're starting off with Stanley Martin Homes. So they just perform average, right? They have average customer service, they have average quality, average design flexibility. They're building all over the triangle, and their prices range from 400s to 600s, and they are a national builder, so they've been in business for, well over 55 plus years. They really don't have a bad reputation. I think when people say Stanley Martin around here, they pretty much say it in good light. There's just not anything crazy special about them, right? They're not affordable like you would see with your Lennars and everyone that we just kind of talked about, but they're also not custom. They're not offering excellent customer service and excellent design. So they're kind of just left in no man's land, and that's pretty much what C list is going to be today. Another builder that's found its way onto this list is going to be DRB Homes. That's Dan Ryan Builders, that's their full name, and you will find them especially in Zebulon and Clayton and Wendell, kind of on the east side of the triangle, and they're definitely hugging the outskirts, building, pretty affordable homes, again in that $400,000 to $600,000 range. And they offer a little bit more design flexibility than some of these other builders, which I do appreciate. Now, the reason that they ended up in C tier is it really depends on who the specific sales manager and who the specific build manager is that you end up with for how smooth or not smooth that transaction is going to go. So in my experience, DRB Homes is just not as consistent when it comes to the actual experience that the customer and the agent faces when building a home. Now, they're a regional builder. They've been in business for 30 years, so they've been around the block. But I think mainly with DRB, they need to work on figuring out their process and their systems and making it very uniform and consistent every time, and maybe we'll get them moved up higher in the list. In that same bucket, I would also put Dream Finders. So Dream Finders is definitely more of your affordable builder, and they're priced in the 400 to 500K range pretty much. They do offer a decent amount of design flexibility, not just in the color scheme, but also in the materials and in the structure. But it varies so much depending on which neighborhood you're at, and like DRB, which team you're actually working with. And so, one community might be almost completely spec, and the other community might have really great options for adding a bedroom and changing this wall and modifying this kitchen to be a gourmet kitchen and have a full design center. And it's just not streamlined across their different communities. So it really feels like a mixed bag on what you're gonna get when you work with Dream Finders. Now, I have had clients move into Dream Finders in Nightdale, for example, at Nightdale Station, and they've absolutely loved living at that home. I've also had buyers work with them in Zebulon and get a great price on a house, but there was 2 months worth of delays that frankly, they just weren't willing to account for and take responsibility for. But overall, Dream Finders is a decent builder, and I certainly wouldn't stop anyone from working with them. All right, I think it's about that time that we reveal one of the 3 S-tier builders who are going to be on our list here today. The first is going to be Raleigh Custom Homes. And we've been working with this builder here in the Triangle for well over 2 decades, and they've been in business for at least 40 years. They are one of the top builders when it comes to high-end custom luxury homes. They'll go and build on your lot. They'll go and do a teardown in an existing prime neighborhood and build these gigantic mini mansions of a house exactly how you want it. Now, of course, that's gonna come at a price, but S tier is reserved for the top of the top builders. This is your local small company that's building anywhere from 30 to 50 homes a year, but at such a high level of finish. Their typical house can run anywhere from $1 million on the low end to well over $5, $6, $7 million. But as soon as you walk into one of them, it's clear to see why. They absolutely dominate the parade of homes, and pretty much every year they're taking home medals, and they really do build all over. So they're gonna be in North Hills, they're gonna be North Raleigh, they're gonna be above 540, they're gonna be building in downtown, and pretty much anywhere else in the Triangle. Our team works very closely with the guys who run this company, and I know firsthand that they absolutely just love what they do for a living. They love their clients. They put the customer first throughout the whole process. Just from the starting point when you're figuring out the lot and the design and all that kind of stuff, they focus so much on you, and throughout the whole process, there's so much hand-holding. They can do last-minute changes unlike pretty much any other builder. There is a lot of good things to say about Raleigh Custom Homes, and that is exactly why they're in S tier, because I couldn't recommend them enough. Now, before we reveal the final 2 builders on the S tier list, we've still got a few more builders to reveal throughout these tiers, so we're gonna go all the way back down to D. This is LGI Homes. They are probably the most affordable builder on the D tier list today, and they are highly focused on your rural areas. So that's going to be your Wake Forest, it's gonna be your Rollsville, your Wendell, Zebulon, Youngsville, all these outskirts where they can build homes as cheaply as possible. I'm talking prices starting in the $200,000 range and going up to $300,000 or $400,000 max. So I'm talking very, very affordable houses, but these are of course going to be as basic as they can get, very low quality material, very low flexibility on design, if any. Now, one good thing is a lot of their lots are going to be pretty decent sizes because they're out in these rural places. And when you're dealing with a rural house, you can usually do 0 down. As far as your down payment goes, that's a government loan that is available to people in low density areas. And they are a national builder. They have been in business for over 2 decades. They do know what they're doing, but it's very hit or miss on the kind of quality you're going to get with them. So again, this is probably one of the most budget-friendly ones, except for the builder that I put in F tier, which we're gonna be getting to in just a little bit. Moving back up to C tier, we have MI Homes. And what MI Homes has done very, very well is build eye-catching homes. They are some of my most favorite homes to walk through in the $400,000 to $600,000 price range, where pretty much every time, visually, what I'm seeing just looks fantastic. And over the years, they've done a good job of creating better and better communities and raising prices. Now, a lot of their communities are actually hitting $600,000 and even $700,000. They're of course building in Holly Springs, they're building in Apex, some of the more desirable communities with higher price points here in the Triangle. They're a national builder and they've been doing this for over 40 years. All in all, I definitely recommend My Homes. Are there better builders out there? Yes, but as we've found out, there's definitely a lot worse builders too. Back in B tier, we have a few builders we definitely need to hit on or this wouldn't be a comprehensive video. First is Mattamy Homes, and I have a couple under contract with Mattamy right now, so I can speak from very recent experience on what type of builder they are. So first of all, I would say they are very designed forward. They build some great homes. They have a lot of customization options. You can structurally change things, add bedrooms. You can add third car garage, which is something a lot of builders aren't doing right now, but I would like to see more of. And a lot of their communities still have really great lots, up to an acre, and still being within Wake County, which is pretty impressive considering their prices are only in the $400,000 range. Now they're also building over in Raleigh and in Cary, hitting the $500,000 and the $600,000 range. So don't get me wrong, they're not a budget builder, but they have a great selection of communities throughout the Triangle. And that's something I also considered in this video is how many options do you have as a buyer? How many communities are they building? Because even if they're the best builder in the world and they're only building one community, that might not be enough to actually fit your needs, depending on what location you need, what type of house you need, how much land you need, etc. Now you won't find Mattamy in most markets. They're originally from Canada, and they've only been in the Triangle for about 10 years, but they've already done such a great job in that short decade that I definitely would recommend them to my clients. Eastwood Homes is another regional builder that definitely belongs to be in B tier. So they're actually family operated, and that's something we don't see with most of these builders, except for when we get up to the custom range. And I really like the way that they run their business. So, you know, a lot of people don't like working with greedy giant corporations that don't care about you and view you as a number, right? That's the complaint that I get about your Lennar, DR Horton, etc. And so Eastwood does a great job of the customer service aspect and making you feel like they care. They're also building in the $400,000 to $600,000 range, so very medium price point for our area. And they also just have a great selection of design. So when you go into a design studio like you used to in the old days, and now it's becoming less popular, right? And you go in there and you spend 3 hours touching and feeling and picking out everything that makes your home your home. Now what they don't have a lot of is your structural changes. Not near as much as when we were looking at Mattamy, for example, but they have so much design choices that you still feel like it's an overall semi-custom house that's fit to your needs. Other builders that made it onto the B tier list are going to be Taylor Morrison, nationwide builder. They've been building for over 100 years, which I think is just absolutely insanely impressive. And they are overall known as a very trustworthy builder. They're building in the $500,000 to $700,000 range. They are targeting more of your premium markets like your Apex and your Cary. And Taylor Morrison actually has a luxury line in addition to more your standard line. I'm talking about the standard line in this scenario, and that's what's most notable here in the Triangle. And I would say pretty much anytime you're dealing with Taylor Morrison, you're going to have a pretty good time. And there's definitely a lot of value in the prices that they're building versus the house that you get. We also have David Weekley, who is literally one of the largest privately owned builders in the United States. They have been voted one of the best places to work, and I know if you're looking at buying a home, you wouldn't think that matters, but it does because it means that the customer service and the quality of the experience you're getting is going to actually be really great because people love working there and they actually retain the employees that they have, they train them so that they can overall provide you that best experience. And so they build great homes. Their price points are again about $500,000 to $700,000. And one thing that David Weekley does that's very unique to them is their flex space design in all their floor plans, basically meaning they make sure that every floor plan has different options that can easily be changed without any structural crazy changes. For example, turning a bedroom into an office into a media room, etc., making it feel like it's highly customizable, even though on the builder's part, they don't have to do a ton. And I will say, when it comes to building your home, they do an amazing job of touching base with you throughout all the different touch points in that process, so it's seamless and also very transparent. And then we have H.H. Hunt Homes. This is a regional builder. They've been building for over 30 years. And they do a really great job of designing master plan communities. They're integrating retail space. They're adding some really awesome amenities, you know, your pools, your fitness clubs, your trails, pickleball, all this kind of fun stuff, meaning that when they build a community, it feels like a community. They're known for having pretty good customer service and overall for providing a lot with the base level packages that they offer, which goes a long way because not everyone cares about customizability. And even if something is pretty custom, if you have to spend $60,000 just to get it to the level that you kind of thought it would be at, then that's not exactly what I'm looking for in a builder. And so a builder that provides a certain level of consistency where you're always going to get LVP on the first floor and you're always going to get, you know, more gourmet kitchen finishes with the base package. I think that's something very impressive to note that H.H. Hunt does pretty well. All right, now we are back up in A tier. We got a few more builders to hit here before we reveal what I believe is the worst builder here in the triangle, and I just couldn't not recommend it enough. And then we'll finally finish off the video with our final S tier builders, the best of the best. Finally, we have Dries Homes. This is going to be your most premium price builder on the A tier list today. They've been in business for nearly a century, very impressive, and they are a national builder. And they're also about as custom as you're going to get while still being in the A tier list, so you can add and remove walls and make all sorts of changes to your heart desires when it comes to Dries Homes. Now, when you're looking at a Dries home, you'll definitely notice that it leans towards a classic southern curb appeal look, and inside the home you're going to be impressed with the open concept, with the design of the floor plan, and with all the bells and whistles that are going to come with your Dries home. All right, I can't take it any longer. It is time to reveal who I chose as the one builder to be on our F tier in today's video. Out of the 20-something plus builders that we went through in today's video, this is the one that I just can't stand working with and I can't recommend. And that builder is Ryan Homes. I'm sorry to Ryan Homes, somebody had to be at the bottom of the barrel, and that today is going to be you. And here's why. I have some good reasons. One, in my own professional experience, when I work with Ryan Homes, I am getting bottom of the barrel customer service, bottom of the barrel prices, which means I'm getting bottom of the barrel design quality, and of course, no customization whatsoever. The warranties can be iffy, the service after you buy the home is a nightmare, and there's all sorts of nightmares if you do some quick research online about their quality when they actually give you the product and say, here's your finished home. Doesn't always work that easily. Every time that I have worked with Ryan Homes, it has been a little bit of a disaster. And listen, they are probably the most affordably priced builder on today's list. And there is the old adage, you get what you pay for. And I do not mean to trash Ryan Homes, and I do not mean to trash anyone who's ever bought with them. By the way, I've had clients build with them. That's part of the reason why I'm speaking from experience here. I will tell my clients when we're looking at new construction homes, hey, if you only care about price, we could go with Ryan. But let's look at all the considerations, all the factors that we've been reviewing in today's video and figure out what is the best budget builder you can go with, and my answer would not be Ryan Homes. So if that's our F tier, and we've gone through D, C, B, and A, it's time to reveal the final two builders on our S tier. These are, again, the most elite builders out there, and if you are in the $1 million plus budget, you want the most custom home, you want the best experience, then these are the two other builders that you should absolutely look into working with. But let's get into it. Our next S tier builder is going to be Boast Custom Homes. They are one of the best bespoke builders here in the Triangle, meaning that there is no such thing as a floor plan. Everything they do is completely custom. It is going to be its own unique home. There will be no other home exactly like it, and that is a big appeal to people looking in the S tier list. And Boast, they build homes very well. They partner with the literal top architects and interior designers to create one-of-a-kind, show-stopping homes. They show them off in Parade of Homes every year, and the lucky few who get to build with Boast, they ain't selling those homes anytime soon. And when I say every Boast home is unique, I mean they build everything from super modern, crazy looking homes all the way down to traditional or colonial looking homes. They even build estate style homes. Pretty much anything you can think of, Boast has built. And if you want to see some of the homes they've built, we highlighted them in the Parade of Homes pretty recently on the channel. Make sure to watch that after this video. We'll link it at the end. And last but not least, we have Rufty Homes. Rufty Homes is your white glove service builder. They are going to provide the most elite customer experience from start to finish. Some of the most recognizable luxury homes and estates throughout the Triangle have been built by Rufty Homes, and they only build a few homes a year, meaning that it's pretty competitive to even work with them. And if you do, you're going to have some of the best project managers and designers and architects and everyone working directly with you every step of the way. At this point, Rufty doesn't really need to do any advertising because the homes do the advertising for them, and most of their clients are actually repeat clients, believe it or not. And they definitely have one of the most prestigious brands when it comes to builders here in the Triangle. So Rufty is a name that if you're moving to the area, you're going to want to get to know. Many past clients have said that even years after building the home, Rufty has continued to follow up and make sure that there aren't any issues or anything that they can assist with. So they are definitely not stopping communication and stopping the service when the house is actually built. And they are very much so responsible for some of the most iconic neighborhoods throughout the Triangle, like Preston Retreat and North Ridge. And that's our list. If you want to learn more about the best builders and the best communities, then just call or text the number below. And to see some of the hottest luxury new construction homes in the Triangle, make sure you watch this video next. I'm Benjamin, and I'll see you there.